Location, location, location. It's said to be everything in the real estate market. Location is sometimes, not always, but sometimes important in the structure of a particular gospel as well. When and how a story is told is often part of the message of a particular evangelist. Take today's story of the cleansing of the temple as an example. The same saga is told in the Gospels of Matthew, Luke, and Mark, but the location is quite different from that in John's Gospel. In Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the cleansing or purification of the temple is placed right before the crucifixion, but not so in John's Gospel. There, the cleansing of the temple is found at the very beginning of the public ministry of Jesus. It's in chapter 2. By doing this, it sets the theme of a Jesus being an agent of change, and this theme will pervade the fourth gospel. And when we read it on the third Sunday of Lent, it can serve as a reminder that we are invited to change our own lives. There are probably things that need to be eliminated, and then there are things that ought to be added into our life. A cleansing ought to take place. The first reading contains the Ten Commandments, and it offers one vehicle for us to use in assessing our own lives to see where change might be needed. The commandments should not be seen as the whimsical wishes of a distant God, but rather a summary of what will make us happy and fulfilled as human beings. That's probably a different way of thinking about the commandments, but it's a valid way. Doing what they say will help us develop into the person God intended us to be. Violating them steers us in a different direction from our intended destiny. The commandments are really about relationships. The first 3 invite a reflection on our relationship with God, and the last 7 concern our relationships with other people. Christ, we can recall, summarized the 10 commandments into 2: love God and love one another. Life is not all about location, it's really about relationships. Any relationship could well be something we ought to consider during these weeks of Lent. Returning to the story of the cleansing of the temple, perhaps we could reflect on the cleansing not of a temple building, but the temple that is ourselves, as Christ alluded to towards the end of the story. What part of our lives need attention? What's going on in my life that needs to change? What's the state of my relationship with God, with family, spouse, my neighbor? May all of us use the season of Lent as a time to review, regroup, and renew our relationship with the Lord and each other.